So, if anybody's paying attention, I don't know if anybody's in here yet or not, but everything you see, everything your eye can see from this highway, starting after this building, almost everything you can see out there on the horizon, we used to own. That used to belong to my family, all of it. It wasn't just that side either. It was also over on this side. Everything as far as the eye can see. We had over 10,000 acres. And it's all gone. Well, it's not gone, it's still here, but it all belongs to various different people now. Yep. See, while I was in the Army, it was shortly after I got out of the Army, my grandfather died. Um, when he died, it was about a week before he died. One of my aunts was in his ear the entire time, and she was the only person that would that seemed to be allowed to talk to him at any given time for that last week. And in that last week, the harm to my dad and having my dad pay a percentage to both of my aunts to having to be sold and split in three for my two aunts and my dad. That prison is a minimum security prison, and it was built shortly around the time I was finishing high school. It's called Coyote Ridge, but we call it Walkaway Ridge because they just walk away from it. We end up having officers out in our barns and everything else out here looking for them. Used to be, you never knew Connell, this town, Connell, Connell. You never knew this was here until you started coming down this little hill up ahead. This little town is down in a hole. You go down a hill and back up a hill. And if you blink, you miss the town. Because the town is highway, it's only on the right. And here we go. As a matter of fact, there's the with that big chimney. But that's the town. That's it. Not much there. Oh, they got a subway now. Oh boy, ain't that special. All those baseball backs. There's three baseball parks right there in that park, or three baseball diamonds. When I was in my teens, we built those. We built the benches. We built the waterworks there. We completely rebuilt the swimming pool that's there, the public swimming pool. We did all that stuff in the course of one summer. I was on one of my first outside of the farm employed jobs, making minimum wage. And those were fun times. And here's the kicker. I don't know if for those of you that have met me, I'm not, I may be short, but I'm not small. So, back in those days, I was skinny as a beanpole, yet muscular like you wouldn't believe. And our farm, the house, was about 12 miles outside of town. I would ride my bicycle into town and back every day to do that job in the summer. Granted, there were days where it was going to be too hot, where I'd take the motorcycle instead, or the pickup, or there's one day I even drove the swather all the way in. It wasn't ever a big deal. Nobody ever cared back then, especially since I was only about 13, 14 years old at the time. Traffic light. This town that I grew up in right here doesn't even have a traffic light. It has one stop sign. All right, we're still holding right now that we hit the top of this little hill. We are still holding about 180 to 200 degrees, somewhere in between. Because right now the needle is directly between 170 and 210. You blinked. Yes, that's Connell. That little town was Connell. That is the little town I grew up in. Well, outside of. And now, for the most part, everything from here is downhill. So we should be doing good on the temperature of the engine for the rest of the trip. We got 34 more miles to go. Yep. So for anybody that's just, we are babying my truck with a massive coolant leak from Spokane, Washington down to the Tri-Cities, Washington area, so that I can park it on my dad's property and work on it. And there's from where the coolant leak is, there's two possibilities. One of them is cheap. It could be leaking at a pipe that would only need a little rubber square O-ring. And it would need two of them because you have to replace one on each end of the pipe when you pull it. So that's not a hard fix. Well, it's not an expensive fix. It's about $2 each for the little O-rings, but it's going to be difficult to get to because that pipe is buried behind everything on that side of the engine. Now, the easy fix, if it's the other part, it's a really easy fix. The problem is the parts that would need replaced are going to run me well over $3,600, and I've got $150 in my pocket, and whatever people have donated today in my Zelle or my Cash App. I'm grateful for people donating. I really am. I don't ask for money. I'll accept donations. I just don't. I never feel comfortable asking anybody for anything. As a matter of fact, shit. I have been told by some people that are actually here in this chat that that's one of my faults, is I never ask for help on anything. Even when I am so out of my depth on something, I still never ask for help. So right now we're just paying attention to the temperature gauge on the engine, making sure I don't get up to a certain temperature. Once I start hovering around a certain temperature, I'm going to have to pull the truck over, shut it off, let it cool down a few minutes, and then add more water, which I have 6 gallons of water with me. Yeah, I'm just praying it's not the. I'm praying it's not the EGR valves, because if it is, that's expensive enough that, you know, $3,600 or more in the parts just to replace those EGR valves. And like I said, I got $150 in cash in my pocket, and whatever anybody has donated today, that's about it. And I don't even know how much that is because I'm driving and I can't go looking. Well, I could go looking and see what it is, but I'm not about to because it's not safe. Not when you're driving. Yep. And personally, I'd rather be talking, instead of doing what I'm doing right now, I would rather be picking up a load, moving it down the road, and sitting here talking to you guys about the freedom movement, you know, about certain legislation that's gone through, and other legislation that's been, I don't know if they finished the vote this morning, but they had the gun ban bill, the assault weapon, their new assault weapons ban. They were voting on that today over there in DC. Problem is, their assault weapons ban practically bans almost every single firearm in the country. So they were voting on that today. Oh, there's another thing I wanted to talk to everybody about, and that I would rather be talking about, and that's you might want to get on YouTube and look up what is it called? Laboratory created or laboratory grown meat. Because last weekend, in the middle of the night, quietly, without anybody knowing, both the USDA and the FDA have approved laboratory created or laboratory grown meat for production, distribution, and sales. Since it's just in its infancy, when you see the meat first hit your grocery stores, it is going to end up being the most expensive meat you can find in the grocery store. So it'll be easy to not buy the stuff by buying the cheaper meat. But with the way they're crushing our economy, they're going to end up making real meat more expensive in the long run. And I am sorry, but I don't need to eat laboratory grown meat. I don't want to eat it, especially not knowing how. The vote on that, Dixie Misty? Last time I looked at that vote, it was 107 yeses, and it was like 107 yeses and 178 no. Huh. I got two flies that just decided they want to be in my truck. And I don't want them in my truck. There we go. Bye-bye flies. At least I think I got one where the other one of you went. What's the vote count at right now? Ah. Yeah, how is your mom doing today? Rosie Rowe, how is your mom doing today? Oh, wow. It's 107 degrees outside. Ah. I really don't want to work on my truck in this temperature. Dixie Misty, do me a favor. There's a live streamer out there called Guns and Gadgets. Guns and Gadgets. It's GUNS space the little symbol for the little symbol that means the same thing as the word and then a space and then gadgets. Look him up because he's keeping a tally of the votes posted up in front of the floor of Congress, so you can see the vote, the congressmen and senators coming up and voting on it, but you also see the running tally of what the votes are. That, and you all still have time to call your congressmen and your senators, all of them, and tell them that if they do not vote no on the assault weapons ban, if they do not vote no, that they will not be getting your vote for re-election. Good, good. I'm glad your mom's doing a little better. She should be getting a little better every day. Yep. We've got, we're born into this world with 24/7 care for X amount of years. And then we end up going out of this world with 24/7 care for X amount of years. It's just a fact of life. But I do feel for her because I know it's got to be extremely difficult after having been independent for so long. She's what, 84 years old? All right, we're still holding around the 180, 190 mark. Yay. We got 21 more miles to go. And yeah, 21 more miles to go. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, though. This is not a fun time trying to see if I'm even going to make it. Let alone, these parts are going to. I seriously hope it's that pipe and not the EGR valves themselves. That's right, Jackie. I agree. Yeah, I hope I got this. My biggest concern, though, is which part is it? Is it the pipe or is it going to be the EGR valves? Because if it's the EGR valves, I'm dead in the water because I don't have the money. Because the money I would have had to fix it, I spent last weekend going all the way out to Jefferson City, Missouri for that rally picnic. And, hindsight's always 20/20. It's not like I knew I was going to have a breakdown. It's not like I knew something on my truck was going to break. And normally, if the fuel price, unless, mine, give or take some donations that may or may not have come in today. I know I've seen a couple people donate. I don't know if they donated to my Cash App or to my Zelle. Either way, some donations have come in. I'm not sure how much because I'm not going to look at it while I'm driving. Uh, thank God this scale house is closed. These guys that come out and run this scale house are usually real big bullies. The two guys that run this scale house off and on, they absolutely seem to hate truckers. And that coolant leak that I've got going on right now would be enough for them to shut me down right there. So either I would have to fix it right there on the spot, or I would have to pay somebody to come out and fix it on the spot, or I would have to be towed to someplace that could fix it. So thank God that one's closed, because that's the last one that I need to worry about. Violet the Lazy Texan. Oh. So, Violet the Lazy Texan, is that also Violet TX? Because there's somebody else that's been Violet TX coming into my live streams here yesterday, as a matter of fact. I'm a little younger than you, Kayleen. I think I'm only, what, 48, something like that. I was born in 75. I've already had my birthday for the year, so. And if anybody that recently came in wants to know, I left Spokane this morning with a major coolant leak on the truck. Headed down to Tri-Cities, Washington. Gonna park it on my dad's property so I can work on it. I've been carrying an extra 6 gallons of water with me to make sure I can make the trip all the way, but so far we've been holding the engine temperature pretty good. So there's that. Problem is, where the coolant leak is, I don't know which part is leaking, because when it started leaking, it was last night in the dark, and then I had to deliver a load early this morning. But it could either be a 1-inch pipe that comes directly out of the EGR cooler, which would only be like a little $2 rubber O-ring gasket, you know, and I would need 2 of them. They're like $2 a piece. I would need 2 of them because you got to put one on each end of the pipe. But if it's not that, then it's going to be the EGR valves themselves. And if that's the case, it's well over $3,600 in parts. And until people started donating this morning, all I had left was $150 in my pocket. And I don't know how much money's been donated yet. I know it's not much, but whatever it is, it'll help. I just don't know where I'm going to come up with the money if it happens to be the EGR valves. Because the problem is, the last 2 loads I carried, this load that I just carried and delivered today barely paid for the fuel that it took to deliver the load. The load before that actually ended up costing me almost $700 instead of me making money. It cost me $700 more in fuel than the load paid. So I'm operating on fumes as far as financial money goes. Like I said, I'm down to, other than what may have been donated already this morning, I've got 150 bucks in my pocket. Wow. So that gun bill is 218 yes, 204 no so far? Is that what I'm seeing there, Dixie Misty? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like Violet the Lazy Texan. I may just call you Violet, but I still like the name the way it is. But that's me. You can go by whatever you want to go by. Damn. Well, if they pass that bill, that assault weapons ban, everybody needs to understand that almost every single firearm in the country will end up being banned. At that point, the only people in this country that will have firearms at all will be our military, our police, and our criminals. Violet, you're not going to be my grandma's age. Both of my grandmothers died many years ago.
In 1.5 miles, take the exit on the right to US 12 East.
Well, see, the thing about that gun ban, that assault weapons ban that they're pushing, every aspect of it violates the Constitution in so many ways. So many ways. The Supreme Court is going to neuter it. It's going to take time before they get everything in place to put the injunctions in place in the whole nine. And then it's going to take years for it to go through the whole Supreme Court system. So we'll be hanging in limbo. And we're going to have jackbooted thugs on our doorsteps trying to take our guns away that whole time. But in the end, because of all of the constitutional violations, it will probably get thrown out by the Supreme Court. The problem is we don't have the time to wait for the Supreme Court. Because the second they pass that, they're coming after our guns. They're going to be knocking on our doors to take them. and you're looking at you're looking at possibly some serious gunfights over that. And that's what they want. They want the people of this country to start fighting. They want the people of this country to start going through bloodshed, because they want to have a lot less so that they can control them, instead of them telling them, instead of the people of this country telling them what to do.
Take the exit on the right to Washington 124 North Burbank.
We got about 5 more miles. We'll 180 to 190 degrees, roughly. Come on, people now. Oh, hey, everybody do a screenshot. You're getting a trucker selfie. Here's a trucker selfie. And away we go. Violet, my dad is older than you are. Just saying. All right, got my cruise control reset. Okay. Looks like I've made it a little higher than it should. Not quite. It's like right around the 200 mark. I'd say right around 190 to 200 degrees. Technically, I mean, I'm going to end the stream after I cross this bridge. Because at that point I'm less than a mile away from where I want to go to get the parts. Just keep your fingers crossed. I'll try to go live with the repairs here and there, depending on how badly the temperatures are affecting me on cost, that it's going to be the cheap. All right, y'all have fun. I will be in touch. I'll be back live as soon as I can be with details. Keep your fingers crossed.